Sunny greetings from the Norisring. It seems like the calm before the storm here in the pit lane, but the guys are already getting ready for the qualifying. We are here at the Norisring, the only city circuit in the calendar. We love it here because it's super exciting, super tight as we saw yesterday. And now it is time for race day 2 and the qualifying. And the man who's leading the pack is Lucky Auer, just waving to us there. Got, smiley eyes. And he's all excited because he is leading by 6 points ahead of Jordan Pepper. And it's going to be super exciting because, as these guys know, it's about every point, because after this race this afternoon, it's halftime, and that means, it's going to get exciting in the second half of the season as well. So now let's see how Lucky will do the qualifying. Let's see how everybody performs. And here are the commentators, so do enjoy. See you later.
Thank you very much, Verena. Good morning, everybody. Welcome along to the streets of Nuremberg. We are getting ready for this race 8 as we head towards the halfway point of the season. And how close is the championship? Jordan Pepper, well, anybody thought he was out of it. He was 8th place coming into this weekend. He's moved up to 2nd, courtesy of his win yesterday. What a unique circuit this is. Around the streets of Nuremberg, the only street course on the calendar. The Franconian Monaco, 2.162 kilometers around with 5 turns, 4 to the left and 1 to the right. Turn 1 is always the scene of controversy, as was the case in 2022 and 23 and 24. The cars getting around that first corner, always the challenge, and then surviving to complete the rest of the race. Those walls are incredibly close to the racing line, and we've seen a lot of wing mirrors departing from cars over the years. The other thing about this weekend is it attracts a massive crowd. Well over 100,000 people here this weekend to watch a spectacular display of motorsport. The DTM, the headline, and the headline yesterday was Jordan Pepper. As I mentioned, he came into this weekend in 8th place in the points standings. He exited yesterday in 2nd place, just 6 points off championship leader Lucas Auer. It was pretty dominant. He was pretty dominant in FP1. It was only Max Powell who picked him to the post in the closing stages of that. He was quickest in FP2. He was quickest in quali, and he was quickest in the race, going to take his first ever win in the DTM. And boy, did he enjoy and celebrate that one. 2nd yesterday was the 2023 champion Thomas Preining, and in 3rd place was Mauro Engel. We have had a few changes overnight. We thought this might be the case to the BOP, the balance of performance. And predictably, the Lamborghini has had a weight increase. Just before we get into that, it's a different kind of qualifying today. The qualifying has been split into 2 groups, as was the case yesterday, but different to what we do throughout the season normally in DTM. Because this track is so short, the cars are separated into 2 groups. Yesterday, it was Group A that went first. To level it all up, it'll be Group B that goes first today. So in the 2 groups, each group will have its 20 minutes of qualifying time, and they will form 1 row of the grid. So whichever car is quickest out of the 2 groups will start on pole position, and the other cars in that group will line up on that row behind him. So we will see where that comes from. Now, normally it's the group that runs 2nd that puts in the fastest time, that is often on pole position. But yesterday it was Group 1, Jordan Pepper. Such was his pace. He recorded a time of 48.467, and that was quicker than anybody achieved in the 2nd group. So quite unusually, pole position came from the 1st group. It'll be interesting to see if he can do the same today. As I mentioned just now, there has been a weight increase in the balance of performance for the Lamborghinis. They've been instructed to add an additional 20 kilos, which is very significant. For Jordan Pepper in the race later on, he's going to have yet another 20 kilos on top of that of success ballast. So he's going to be carrying 40 kilos extra to what he was yesterday. The BMWs have been allowed to unload 10 kilograms, and the McLarens have also had a reduction in weight. They are now the lightest car in the field at just 1265 kilograms. The cars already starting to move out onto the track. They're into the pit lane as we get ready for the first of this two-part qualifying session. So time for me to introduce once again the man alongside me for one weekend only. Good morning, Dave Richardson.
Here we go then, another fantastic qualifying session. So looking forward to this, and as you pointed out yesterday, we went against the trend, and that is Group A with the quickest cars. It's Group B that's first to show on track today. Will it remain the same? It's slightly cooler today. I don't know if that's going to have an impact on how the qualifying plans out. It is a mere 20 minutes that these drivers have to set the fastest possible time, and of course, until Group A have completed their session, we're not going to know who will be going from P1. As you've mentioned, one or two changes being made overnight. What difference is that going to make to the performance of certain drivers and certain cars? The one thing that you can be guaranteed upon is that the shape of the DTM on race day one will not necessarily give you the form guide for day two, and that's why we love this series.
Yeah, very rarely does the grid resemble the day prior to it on a race weekend. It'd be really interesting to see how this one shakes out. As is often the case, the cars are out on track, just doing the installation lap, getting a bit of heat into the tyres and into the brakes. And as is often the case, it might be the same today. The cars will then peel off into the pit lane and move into the heat-soaked cycle. That is where the heat transfers from the brakes through the rims and into the tyres. It's all a bit different here, really, because this is a temporary circuit. It's a circuit that is getting quicker as the weekend goes on. These are public roads for the rest of the year. You can see the pavement there, the concrete and the tarmac, so different kind of surfaces. Very bumpy. We've seen the cars bouncing around a lot, but the rubber is laid down. We haven't had any rain. We've had a lot of other racing here. We were racing GT4s late into yesterday evening. Real entertainment, a real festival of motorsport for the locals, but it does mean that there's a nice layer of rubber on the track. Means that the track in theory should be a lot grippier, should be nice and clean. So we would expect to see the times in qualifying this morning potentially to be a bit quicker than they were yesterday. It was a new lap record for Jordan Pepper, 48.467, finally putting to bed Liam Lawson's record from back in 2021. But Jordan Pepper, I don't think anybody could live with him yesterday. He was on a different level. But with that BOP change and with the success penalty as well, the success ballast, that is really going to give him a challenge. So it's an extra 20 kilos for Jordan Pepper, an extra 10 kilos for Thomas Preining, an extra 5 kilos for Mauro Engel. We're looking on board at Thomas Preining at the moment. I don't know how much on a circuit this size that success ballast will make a difference. Maybe not as much as it would do on one of the faster circuits.
I think that's a very fair point that you're making. I think the impact will perhaps be lessened here than it would be somewhere else, which of course is advantageous for those drivers that are being affected by those. Only time will tell, and we will see the first glances of that during qualifying, of course. Ian Chan Govan then driving the Porsche 911 GT3R. I have to say that's one of the most attractive colour schemes I've seen on a racing car for a long time. I mean, if you don't see that car come in and you can't ID that when you're on the air, God help you, truthfully. Yeah. Nicky Team, he had a torrid time of it in the race yesterday. Yeah. Started from the front row, had qualified P2, got right royally nerfed out and turned around, and looked on the back foot from there on in, Brian.
Yes, it was not the day that he had had in mind when he got out of bed yesterday morning. And of course, last year he was a winner in this race, taking his win and emulating his father around the streets of Norisring. Of course, Kurt Tim was a winner many years ago in this series. Last year, we also had a win for Rene Rast, and it might well be with the BOP change overnight, the BMW will have a little bit more pace about it.
I was really, really surprised, given how Jordan Pepper was so dominant yesterday. The likes of Mirko Bortolotti. Yeah. Same car?
Yeah.
Or am I imagining that?
Yeah, I mean, identical car, the Lamborghini Huracan. arguably in its last year in GT3 racing before it's succeeded by the Temerario. But
well done.
Yeah,
I'm glad you did that.
I got the right teeth in today. Mirko Bortolotti could only manage a 15th place yesterday, as we have some team radio from Jack Aitken.
Yesterday, everybody on the same plan.
Okay, so...
well, that's really helpful.
Yeah, yes.
And we have the plan as
we
well.
We have the same plan. While we have a gap, I'm just going to talk about previous winners that are in this race. Thanks to long-time friend of DTM, Toby Ebner. He has given me a list of the previous winners here. Marco Wittmann has won here in 2018. Rene Rast, 2-times winner here in 2019 and 24. Thomas Breining in 22 and 23. And, of course, Nicky Thiem in 24 as well. It says there Fabio Scherer will not start. Well, I think that might not be correct because he's in the car. Yesterday, he did not start. In quali, Fabio was actually setting a very quick time. He had done a purple sector 1, but then found the wall, made a connection, did a lot of damage to the Ford Mustang and was unable to even start the race. It was not what Fabio Scherer was looking for here. On his return to the Norisring, because the last time here he was in a single-seater, so this is something very, very different. But he's hoping for better things today. I do believe that he will start in this qualifying session. I've been told that the car's back together. You saw that he was in the car with his race suit and crash helmet on, although he's not showing on our timing screens at the moment. So there are some cars out on track. We have already had 7 minutes of this 20-minute qualifying session. We say it every weekend. We say it again now. Maybe we should just have a 10-minute qualifying session and be done with it because the cars... and they've gone through the heat soak cycle now. I don't know how much difference this makes, but now we have the build laps where the cars come out, they do an out lap, then the build laps getting the heat into the tyres and getting them into the window. When they perceive the tyres are exactly in that right window, then it's the push laps.
You explained it very well as we ride on board right now and can see the office that these drivers have to work in as Fabio Scherer. Then I think I'm right with you in that it looks like he is certainly getting ready for qualifying, and we just wait to see if his name mysteriously appears from the GPS onto our timing screen, which it certainly isn't doing at the moment. HRT team clearly had more work to do to that than we thought, because whilst I accept that you made the point that he made a connection with the concrete barriers which do not bend or flex in any way, shape or form, I didn't think it looked terminal to that car, but clearly it was yesterday, and therefore nothing gained yesterday will want to be out today and try and right the wrongs of yesterday.
Absolutely. I think the car, I think we thought, was maybe crabbing a little bit after it had hit the wall with the right rear quarter. So clearly some serious damage there. Certainly the team had given it its best effort, but they weren't going to get it together in time for the race. The Aston Martin was looking very good in qualifying yesterday. Both Aston Martins having their best ever qualifying session. And in fact, Jules Magnus scoring points, so getting off the board. He got 4 points yesterday, as we see Fabio Scherer just coming out of the garage and into the pit lane, but a 12th place for Jules Magnus yesterday. So that was his best result of the season. So the only driver in the field now to have not scored points yet in 2025 is Nicola Bart. But looking at the pace he was showing yesterday, today that may well change. Yes, good to see Fabio Scherer out on track. Just seeing that everything is still pointing in the right direction, just taking it gently at the moment. So it looks like we should have a full complement of cars. We're not actually paying too much attention to lap times at the moment because they are still building the temperature, but An Cheng Nguyen has started to push a little bit, but we're looking for the mid-48, so this is not going to be anywhere near that at the moment. Crosses the line at 50.519. It's a good little benchmark, nice starting point, but we're expecting the times to get quicker than that. And while we are waiting for that, just to go through the point standings once again, it's Lucas Auer who leads by just 6 points. That massive lead he had coming into this weekend has been eaten away by Jordan Pepper. Yesterday, Lucas Auer finishing in 6th place. So it was not disgraceful at all, but he seemed pretty subdued about it after the race. Pepper with the win moves up to 2nd, 6 points back. Mauro Engel also with that 3rd place yesterday, just 13 points back. Then Jules Gounon, another driver who perhaps was a bit disappointed yesterday. He's 19 points back in the points. And Rene Rast, the big loser in the point standings, dropped 20 points back from Lucas Aaron. He's in 5th place.
It's really reminiscent for me and going back in time as Ben Green goes to the top of the timing screen momentarily. Of course, possibly the last time DTM and I saw that surname at the top, it was one Jamie Green who was setting very, very fast times in qualifying here at the Norisring. So it's Ben Green from Lugiao, from Tom Callender. They are the top 3 at the moment, but as you say, don't read too much into the times that we're seeing at the moment. They're in the mid 49s. We're expecting the times to come down significantly from there.
Just to wind up the last of the points bits. Team standings haven't changed after yesterday. Manthey leading Winward ahead of Schubert, albeit by 6 points, Manthey to Winward. And in the manufacturer standings, Mercedes-AMG lead Porsche and BMW. So no changes there, but the gaps all changing between them, and it all could change today as we are now well into the 2nd half of qualifying, just 8.5 minutes remaining. And now it's time to turn the wick up. You can see Tom Callender has gone purple. That means he's the best of anybody in sectors 1 and 3. Personal best in sector 2 as well. Nicola Bart also setting personal best. Ben Green in the Ferrari, as no relation to Jamie Green, but certainly the very famous surname that we see so much in motorsport as well, out across the line, and he continues at the top, 49.355.
Here he comes now to complete another lap. Let's see if this is an improvement from Green then. 49.147. He's taken a full 2/10 out of his previous best time, and that came by virtue of purple sectors, sector 2 and sector 3. Tom Callender now.
So Tom Callender with a personal best in the final sector, but didn't do a personal best or an overall best in the middle sector. On board with Thomas Preining, he's green in sectors 1 and 2. Jack Aitken is the next to turn the wick up, purple in sector 2. So the quickest of anybody in sector 2. Aitken, who's currently down on the 8th row, but not anymore. He goes to the top, to the front row, 49.132, maybe still more to come. Ben Green in the sister car in 2nd place. We've got Ferrari 1st and 2nd at the moment. Still plenty of time to come from these cars, I think. Ben Green, personal best in sector 1. He crosses the line, remains in P2. 49.147 is his best. Now, championship leader Lucas Hauer, frustrated yesterday. Things finished as they are now. He would be on the 7th row of the grid, but he's looking to improve. He does that. He's up to the 4th row. To remind you, they are qualifying just for row positions, not for overall grid positions in this at the moment. So Thomas Preining up to row 3. Ben Green once again with a personal best and an overall best in sector 1, but not in sector 2. So he's continuing to improve, pushing forwards. Of course, the tyres now should be in the window. So now the opportunities are coming to get the times down. Ayn Changun very briefly going to the top, but Ben Green eclipses that. We're almost into the 48, so it's 49.070.
Emozioni Ferrari then, as Green puts it to the top of the table then, but how long will it stay there as Jack Aitken with the sister car, as you quite rightly said. Personal best through sector 1, better than anyone through sector 2. Is this going to be the first time to get into the 48s then? Is it going to come from Jack Aitken as we head to break the timing beam right now? It is a 48.787. Brian, that's a huge margin, nearly 3/10 quicker than anybody else.
That really is, and that could be an absolute benchmark over this whole session. We don't know whether the track is quicker or not yet. Remember, yesterday's best time was a 48.467. but that is really, really quick. And now a response from Ben Green, 48.9. So the two Ferraris are the only two cars into the 48s at the moment. Now, who else is improving? Thomas Preining, personal bests in Sector 1 and Sector 2, but no purples. Sometimes it's just getting it right across all three sectors, not necessarily purple, and that can be enough to move you a long way up. He was 6th coming into this lap. He is now 4th, so jumping up 2 places. So Thomas Preining up to the 4th row at the moment. Is there any more to come from Grello?
5 minutes remaining, or just under 5 minutes remaining in this qualifying session. Gilles Magnus we watch right now, personal best through Sector 1. We also run the clock on Jack Aitken, who remains P1 for the moment, at 48.787. Two Ferraris, P1 and P2 in this quali session. I remind you the qualifying split into 2 groups for this Norisring round of the DTM. It's Aitken from Green from our P3, then it's Preining team, Guin, Durr, Callender, Magnus, Bortolotti again further down the order than I expect to see, then it's Bert and Scherer.
So Aitken was quickest of anybody in the final sector, as denoted by the purple, but we've got no improvements at the moment. 4 minutes remaining, so time now starting to tick down. If anybody's got anything, now is the time to start to turn it up. There is Bart coming through to complete that lap. Nicola Bart out towards turn 1 once again. So with 3 3/4 minutes remaining, it is Jack Aitken who is quickest. It's Ben Green who is 2nd. It's Ferrari 1, 2. Then Nicola Bart in 3rd. Luki Auer in 4th with a 48.947. So about a 10th and a half off the fastest time. Good job from Ben Durr, up to P6 at the moment. Preining continue to improve as well, as we see Fabio Scherer. Remember, he had that problem in quali yesterday, and that's probably going to have affected his confidence a bit. But good job for the Ford Mustang. Briefly up into 6th place, but bumped down a position because Ben Durr in the McLaren up to P2. Good job from Ben Durr. Let's hear some team radio.
Missing half a tenth to Tommy, focus Sector 3.
So Ben Durr in the McLaren, there was a BOP weight reduction overnight, but that is a great job from him, showing some real pace. 500ths of a second off Jack Aitken's time. Still, 48.787 is the benchmark time. Not anymore. Thomas Preining now eclipsing that, 48.768. What can Jack Aitken do to respond to that? He's still out on track at the moment. But he's going to have to find something from somewhere. Thomas Preining leading the way, 48.768. Now Nicola Bart also responding. Purple, quickest of anybody in Sector 1. Is it possible that the Come To You Aston Martin is going to cause the biggest upset of all? Well, he's lost a bit of time in the final sector, so certainly Sectors 1 and 2 were good. He's still got less than 2 minutes to do something about that.
It is looking so good, isn't it? And the margins are minuscule, but with less than 2 minutes left to run, time running out for our drivers, Preining, Aitken and Ben Durr then. A very good qualifying from Ben Durr. Preining then with a 48.768. That's the time to beat. No one showing purple at the moment.
90 seconds of timed racing remaining. Preining is the one they're aiming for, 48.768. So we continue to look at Nicola Bart and Gilles Magnus. Magnus in the 007 Aston Martin. Tom Callender hasn't improved either. We're looking at Thomas Preining tightening his belts maybe for one last push, and he's on the team radio.
Full push. We are on it. We are on it, mates. Cooking.
3
more.
Cooking indeed. A slightly delayed radio message, so probably 2 more after this, but Preining giving it everything. We are cooking here at the Norisring and across the line. Doesn't look like Aitken can do anything to respond there. He's back into the 49s. Has he taken everything out of the tyres that he's able to? Is there any more to come? Can he extract any more? How close to the wall dare he get? We're now at the final 30 seconds of timed qualifying for this, the first of 2 groups. Across the line goes Nicola Bart. Good job, a 4th row at the moment. Still some more to come, maybe, but there are no purples as we speak. Fabio Scherer in that 8th place, Calendar in 9th. And a purple, yes.
Jack Aitken purple then, middle sector, but the first sector not so. Let's see what Jack Aitken can do to break the timing beam right now. 1 1/3 100.
So close.
It is so close.
So close. Checkered flag is out. Drivers that are on a hot lap at the moment, it will still count, but there are no new laps that can be started as we see An Chang-Nguyen coming round to receive the checkered flag. So 5th row is as good as it's going to get for him, but Gilles Magnus, purple in sector 1. Could it be the come to you Aston Martin is going to score another big upset? Purple in sector 1, personal best in sector 2. Nicola Bart to the top. Suddenly Thomas Preining's time has gone tumbling down to 3rd because Nicola Bart has improved. Where did that come from? Ben Green up to 2nd as well. So suddenly the times were beaten at the closing stages. We're not done yet. Jack Aitken up into P2 with a 48.751, but we have a come to you Aston Martin in the shape of Nicola Bart on the front row of the grid. I didn't even see that one coming. Fantastic stuff.
7 1/1000ths quicker than Jack Aitken. That's how close it is in qualifying, and that's how close it is in the DTM, and how from one day to the next the whole storyline can change immeasurably. Well done to Bart then. What a time, 48.744, and did a lot of laps around the Norisring, 18 laps. Jack Aitken did 19, he's P2. It was a good qualifying for Ferrari. They are P2 and P3, but bear in mind, this will be for a Linus Stern lineup when it comes to the race, because Group B will be starting on one side of the grid, and all the cars will be lining up behind each other. So this is not for row delineation, is it?
No, it really isn't. Can I just point out to you, the car that has just scored a front row start has not scored any points up until now. There will be points from this.
As much as you can. So fucking happy for you, man. You're in fucking pole position for Q2. Good job. So proud. Let's go, guys. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Thank you for your work, guys.
Apologies for the colourful language, but you can imagine how the emotions run high, Brian.
You can, and you could see how much that means. You could see him just shaking his head in the car. I would remind you that coming into today, Nicola Bart, the only driver in the field to have never scored a point in DTM. Well, he's scored points now. It could be 3, it could be 2, depending on what happens in the next group. But he will score points. What a sensation. Nicola Bart, the quickest with a 48.744. Jack Aitken, just 7,000ths of a second behind. Ben Green popping up in the closing stages onto the 3rd row ahead of Thomas Preining, Ben Dorr, and Chang-Nguyen, and Gilles Magnussen, the other of the come to you Aston Martins. Lucas Auer back on the 8th row ahead of Fabio Scherer, Tom Calendar, and Nicky Thiem not emulating yesterday, and his teammate Mirko Bortolotti will start the race on the very back row. It's going to be a long afternoon for the 2 AB Sportsline cars. But what a sensation. Nicola Bart, the Belgium driver for Come To You Racing, who has yet to score a point this season. Well, now he has, and he's done it in qualifying. He's put that Aston Martin on the front row of the grid. Absolutely sensational. Didn't see it coming. We saw the Astons were quick, and then suddenly it popped up at the top of the timing screens, and he is understandably completely overwhelmed with emotion. So that was Group B. That was the group that went 2nd yesterday. And in a few moments, we will have Group A out on track. And those are your runners and riders, 12 of them. A lot of eyes will be on the number 63 of Jordan Pepper, yesterday's pole sitter and winner. And we will see how he does after the BOP changes overnight. Right, let's head back down to Verena, who's in the pit lane.
And I'm here with Jack Aitken, who in this group is P2. And you just mentioned it. I mean, it's so close here at the Norisring.
Yeah, for sure. Every year we come here and the gaps are hundredths, not tenths. and it's really different to the normal circuit. You only have 4 places where you can make the time, so you're looking at every corner with a microscope, and for Nicholas to be ahead 700ths, 800ths, actually is quite a big gap, so he did a mega lap. I'm really happy to be P2 in the group. Let's see if the next group is quicker.
Yeah, and we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much, Jack, and back to you.
Jack is such a good articulator, isn't he? You know, he speaks so very well, and he makes a very fair point that the margins here are minuscule.
Yeah, they are. They're down to absolute thousandths and fractions between the cars. And yeah, Jack brings a lot to the DTM. He's always a very welcome addition, and always does well here around the Norisring. Started on pole position for one of the races last year, but for the weather, didn't turn that into a win. Right, back down to Verena in the pit lane.
And I'm here with Nicolas Bart. Congratulations. In this group, you're in the pole, so hopefully it'll stay that way. We will see later on, I guess. But whew, that is so super tight, and in the last minute you did it. Yeah, excellent. How do you feel?
I feel amazing. You know, I was speaking with my engineer on the radio. He told me we need 1 or 2 tenths, and I wasn't managing to put everything together and to put on the lap. And the last one, I managed to put everything together. So yeah, the feeling is, and I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, I'm super proud of the team and the job they are doing, especially because it's our first season. And if we look back at the 3 previous weekends, hasn't been that easy for us. Usually I'm used to start on the same row, but right at the back, and now I'm on the first one. So 18 minutes left to see what will happen. But anyway, the job is done, and I'm very happy and very proud of what we are doing and achieving as a team.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nicolas. And now ready for Group B, so back to you guys.
Just while he was talking, I saw Nicolas Bart looking to the sky, and I'm looking out of the window. I looked this morning, the weather forecast says it's due to remain dry today, and I'm looking up at it, and there's some black clouds that are circulating around. And he's looking at the weather and conditions. I'm not necessarily saying it might rain, it might be the temperature will change, but he's looking at the sky, and it could be that what happens with the track and with the conditions.
I thought he was looking at the clock, because he said we've got 18 minutes to find out where I'm actually going to be, whether it's going to be pole.
Oh, is there a clock up there?
Yeah, but no, yeah, I think because there's a big timing screen down there, which of course he would be focusing on. But you're making a very fair point. It looks a bit grey, glum and miserable as we look out of our commentary studio, which I accept is not in the most scenic location, but actually, yeah, there's a bit of cloud around. I mean, you're pretty good with your meteorological predictions. I mean, you know, knowing you've been checking the weather during the course of the day.
And the night.
Is it a reasonable, is there a chance?
I mean, they've said there's the possibility of some showers. It's just suddenly gone very gloomy outside, and it might not even rain. It might just be the temperature drops on the track. But we've said it all along. We said it yesterday. We expected the fastest time to come from the second group to run.
It didn't.
It didn't happen yesterday. The pace of Jordan Pepper meant that the pole position time, the fastest time of all, came from Group 1. And just seeing Nicolas Bart there, glancing to the sky, to the clock, whatever it is, it could be that conditions change here and actually the track gets slower for whatever reason, whether it be temperature or rain or whatever. So it's going to be an interesting 16 3/4 minutes, because that's what's remaining of this second group. It's a 48.744. That is what the drivers are all aiming for. So once again, we reset everything. It's back to the heat-soaked cycles, the building of the temperature. Now, yesterday, I think Maro Engel stayed out a lot longer. He was going out and just generating the heat into the tyres, and he and Thierry Vermeulen are currently circulating out on track on their own.
It didn't impact his performance in the race yesterday. As we go back into the pit lane, here is Verena once again.
And I'm here with Ben Green, who's in this group, in the first group, in P3 after a bad day yesterday. Today's looking really good, so you're happy about that so far?
Yeah, it's nice to bounce back, obviously. It's such a close grid out there. I mean, I think it was, what, 4 cars within 200s? It's crazy. So nice to be in the top pack and looking forward to the race.
So are we. Thank you so much, Ben. Back to you.
It's really good to see Ben Green back up out towards the front. He is such a quick driver. He's had a lot of bad luck and been involved in things that are not his fault so far this year. He is due a good result, and this could be the place where it happens. So really good to hear from Ben, and good to see he's still feeling upbeat. We're so excited to have him here in the DTM this year, and behind the wheel of that Ferrari, he has been looking very rapid. Just needs it all to come together. The other of the Ferraris, Thierry Vermeulen, out on track. So different strategies here. We've got 10 cars into the pits. We've got 2 cars that are taking advantage of an empty track, and if the track were to get slower, potentially gaining a leg up on the other 10 cars in this group. Maro Engel and Thierry Vermeulen are out on track, just circulating, getting the heat into the tyres and just bringing down that lap time. It's a completely opposite strategy to the other 10 cars.
It is, but it might work. Only time will tell, and we've got 14.5 minutes remaining. Was he not emotional when he was speaking to Verena? I mean, that meant a real lot to them. And not only to him as a driver, but also to the team as well. Yeah, and when you think that the team only scored their first points yesterday, and that was with his teammate Gilles Magnus with a 12th place. Nicola Bart's best finish this year so far was an 18th place, and that was at Zandvoort. And that's not a reflection on him or his driving skills. It's Come To You Racing have come into the DTM with that Aston Martin. This is a whole new discipline for them, and they've already said they had very level expectations coming into this year. They see it very much as a learning year. They're learning the series, the way it operates. They're learning performance pit stops. Everything is a steep learning curve for them. I don't think even they anticipated starting on the front row at Norisring. Yeah, if I can pick up on something you were saying there about performance pit stops, which are a critical part of the whole shape of the DTM, and that, of course, going to be ever more critical, may I say, today?
Oh, absolutely, particularly as the race this afternoon, new for 2025, has 2 pit stops. We have a really short pit stop window that comes, it's only 6 minutes long, the final pit stop window. That comes late in the race, in the 39th minute of a 55-minute race. We obviously have the first pit window, which is earlier than it was yesterday. That'll be in the 10th minute. So 2 opportunities to get it right. 2 opportunities to get it wrong, as Maro Engel is now the first into the 49s.
49.519 from Maro Engel. Thierry Vermeulen with a 54.957. Don't read too much into that, but at the moment it is only Maro Engel that is posting times. The Group B fastest time you can see posted at the top of the screen for you, as Maro is improving once again. Purple sector through sector 1. Sector times here at the Norisring are probably less meaningful than at a bigger circuit, but even so, as you can see, Maro Engel has taken 3/10 cumulatively out of the time that he has set thus far. Expecting this to be a new P1 potentially from Maro Engel, and 49.201, so stayed on that improvement trajectory and took another 3/10.
I should think that Nicola Bart is looking on just in a bit of a daze at the moment. That lap, I think, possibly took him by surprise as well. And now it is that nervous 12 minutes as he waits to see what everybody else is doing. We've got a few more cars out on track now. So Maro Engel, who goes as close to the wall as he dare, just moving past the local man from Fjord just down the road. Mega Marco Wittmann had a fairly difficult day yesterday, finishing out of the points in 18th place. He also had a grid drop yesterday as well. He'll want to put that to the back of his mind and focus at the job in hand today. He's out there building the heat in the tyres. Maro Engel has very nice hot rubber on that Mercedes, albeit probably fairly worn by now, so he may well peel off into the pit lane in the second half of this session. But the remainder of the field now is starting to come out on track. We've got everybody out with the exception of Arjun Maini, who's still in the pits.
So Mauro Engel then, it's like an endurance qualifying for him, isn't it? Right from the very start he's been out. He continues to be out as well. He is the fastest driver. Maurice Schöring is the second fastest, but again with a non-meaningful time. And super replay of Mauro Engel then. He's scraping not only the walls but also the tarmac as well, and into Mauro Engel's car then, and you can see him hard at work. Well, not so hard at work right now. And there's the very emotional Nicolas Bert, who I think come the end of this session might be shedding a tear.
Yes, if not before. Into the pits comes Mauro Engel, so he's done all that running, and he'll come back in now. It'll be interesting to see whether he decides to come back out and have another pop towards the end of this session. But certainly, he's given it his everything so far. He's done 11 laps. The only other driver to have done a number is Thierry Vermeulen. He's done 7. The rest of the field out now. So everybody is out because Arjun Maini is out as well. Weaving from left to right to generate the heat into the tyres. There's Maurice Schöring in the Manthey Junior car. And he had a 14th place yesterday. So he got involved with Max Powell. And they had to have a little visit to the stewards as well. And Max Powell receiving a penalty for that. So not towards the top of the points by any stretch. Ricardo Feller showing some good speed as well, but 9th place probably didn't quite fulfill the potential that he was showing earlier on in the session. Now, that's the man we've got one eye on. Yesterday's winner, Jordan Pepper, in the gold and black Lamborghini, the TGI Team Lamborghini by GRT. Nobody has been able to get anywhere near him pretty well all weekend. He's now got that extra 20 kilos on board courtesy of the BOP change. He hasn't got the success ballast on board for qualifying, but he will have it for the race this afternoon. So he needs to do all the hard work now, and he will be working hard to generate the heat into the tyres as well.
Grid position is going to be everything for Jordan Pepper today with the weight disadvantage, as you're saying. But I think the success of yesterday, I mean, he's a grounded individual and always has been for as many years as I have known him. But there is no doubt whatsoever that the win yesterday, his first win, that monkey's off his back now, coming off the back of a supremely successful weekend. Last weekend, he's having another successful weekend this weekend. That's got to be worth some tenths or even more for Jordan Pepper, I would suggest, into this qualifying session.
You just saw Gottfried Grasser, the team boss at Grasser, looking on at the screens. He also on the crest of a wave as a result of that win yesterday and the win last weekend. Right, Mauro Engel back out on track again. Maybe they put some different tyres on that car, but he's out there at the moment, so he's really going for a record number of laps. He's done 12 and he's adding to that further. Right, René Rast, the first to show, purple in Sector 1. So Rast is starting to turn the heat up. He's got a bit of an advantage on the BOP compared to yesterday. Just a little bit of a wobble under braking there in the BMW, but a best of anybody in Sector 1. Personal best in Sector 2. Marco Wittmann is improving, as is Maurice Schöring. So the last 7 minutes, and it was in that last section. You saw that wobble under braking. Here's team radio from Wittmann.
Silent on the radio, we start pushing.
So Schubert Motorsport giving the instruction to push for Mega Marco. He's currently second at the moment, but that's certainly vulnerable at 49.518. The one they're all aiming for is Nicolas Bart from the first group, 48.744. Whoever is quickest overall, that driver will start on pole position, and the remainder of their group will line up behind, and the other group will line up in lap time order on the outside row. So this is what they're competing for. We want to see if anybody can get below that 48.744, and that will move the entire group to the inside line, the pole position line, should we say, as we look at Jordan Pepper once again, just building the heat, building the speed, Rene Rast just struggling to tie it all together. A purple in Sector 2. Maurice Schering briefly the quickest in Sector 1. But hey, guess who's just gone quicker in Sector 1? It's Jordan Pepper. 18.288 in Sector 1, the quickest of anybody. So he's still got some pace in that Lamborghini. A personal best in Sector 2 as well. At the moment, he is on the third row, but surely this is going to propel him up as long as he can hold it all together in this third and final sector. Out across the line comes Jordan Pepper, and it is front row once again, 48.979. Still a couple of tenths off the time of Nicola Bartz.
Whilst all that's going on, Rene Rast has gone second fastest, Maro Engel third fastest, Moritz Schering good showing as well, and best we've seen from Timo Glock for a little while as well. He is fifth fastest, although he's just usurped by Marco Wittmann, who crosses the line to take P5, but there are still 5 minutes remaining.
Thierry Vermeulen's on a quick one as well. It was briefly purple in Sector 1. Then he was purple and still is purple in Sector 2. So he's on to the final part of this lap. So Thierry Vermeulen, who's currently 12th and last, is going to get propelled up the sheet here. How high up will it be? Second is the answer. Second row for Thierry Vermeulen. So the Ferrari once again showing good pace. Jules Gounon up onto row 3, Rene Rast to row 4, Mauro Engel on row 5, but Pepper is continuing to improve. He's gone purple again, but Jules Gounon also purple in Sector 1, so Gounon now starting to turn the wick up. Here comes Maurice Schering. He wants to improve from row 6. Is this going to be improvement? I'm not sure it is. And he stays on row 6. But Gounon, personal bests in Sector 1 and Sector 2, trying to improve from row 4. Jordan Pepper is the fastest of all. Ricardo Feller jumps up into third place. Good stuff from Feller. Pepper, best of anybody in Sector 1, not so in Sector 2. So he's going to maybe stay at the top for the time being, 48.926. But I don't think he's going to improve on the time set by Nicola Bartz. He crosses a line, and no, that was a slow Sectors 2 and 3, so a 51. So have we seen the best from Jordan Pepper so far?
I think there is still much more to come. We've got just under 4 minutes of this qualifying. We rode on board with Ricardo Feller. Currently it is Pepper from Rast. Then it is Vermeulen. Then Gounon and Feller and Miney and Engel and Schering and Wittmann and Glock and Powell and Engsler. That's the way it looks, the 12, as Vermeulen is improving once again, and this looks like a sizable improvement then for the driver that is currently P3. We're going to track the car across the line here. We're into the final sector, and as he breaks the timing beam now, Vermeulen goes P1 with a 48.771. We're getting ever closer to the Nicola Bert time from Group B.
So Jordan Pepper bumped down onto row 2. Can he respond to this? He's done a personal best in Sector 2, but nothing on that lap. Again with Ricardo Feller, quickest of anybody in Sector 1. Personal best in Sector 2. Ricardo Feller, he's on row 5 at the moment in the fairly old Audi. Many years old, but still got a lot of pace. Out of turn 5, out across the line comes Ricardo Feller to the second row, bumping yesterday's winner down to the third row. So Jordan Pepper still got a bit of work to do. Nicola Bartz just wishing away the next 2.5 minutes. His 48.744 is safe, but only just. Rene Rast, personal bests in Sector 1 and 2, looking to improve from row 5. So Rene Rast continuing out of the Dutzendijk corner, out onto the pit straight. Can he improve on 5? He goes up 1 position to P4. Arjun Miney also on a quick lap. He comes to break the beam, and he's up to row 3. Good stuff for the Ford Mustang. So Jordan Pepper now down to the 4th row. Local man Marco Wittmann, he was in 9th place. Doesn't look to be improving too much on that at the moment. Mauro Engel, he's not done yet either. Best of anybody in Sector 1. So Mauro Engel, he's down on row 7 at the moment. What's this one going to be? Out of turn 5, he comes. Vermeulen crosses the line. He is quickest, 48.771. So Vermeulen still at the top. Mauro Engel into the 5th row. Jordan Pepper improving to row 3. This is hard work, keeping on top of this. The last 90 seconds of qualifying. Out onto the pit straight comes Arjun Miney. Once again, 2 personal bests. Up to the quickest. Arjun Miney, 48.737, and that puts him on pole position provisionally. So Arjun Maini has unseated Nicola Bart. What a sensational qualifying session this is turning out to be. A Ford Mustang currently on pole position. Jules Gounon, Thierry Vermeulen looking to improve still, but time is running out. The reality is Nicola Bart, he's not going to be starting on pole, but he will start on the front row.
It will be a front row start, which is a heck of an achievement. Arjun Maini, though, P1 with that 48.737. And still, we have 40 seconds remaining. Bear in mind, when the clock has counted down to 0, any driver that is still on a lap, that lap could still count. Arjun Maini is going to cross the line now and not trouble his previous awesome time. And currently, this is the car. Provisionally, that is P1. No one is improving. I think Arjun Maini has probably done enough here because no one is showing any improved sector times. Now, the clock hasn't quite counted down to 0. We've got 4. Make that 3, 2, 1 seconds before the checkered flag is out. Anyone that has started a lap can continue and complete that lap. Rast then with a personal best through sector 2. It's not going to be enough, truthfully. It's a P6 for René Rast. And here we can see the number 19 car of Luca Engstler, and there is René Rast. Checkered flag is out, and Arjun Maini, but look at Thierry Vermeulen. Thierry Vermeulen with a purple sector through sector 1. He's currently P3. Middle sector is still showing an improvement, though. So he was 6/100ths up on the time of Arjun Maini. If Vermeulen can hang it all together as he breaks the timing beam now, it's P1.
Wow.
Thierry Vermeulen in the Ferrari has delivered a 48.666.
Amazing stuff. Thierry Vermeulen, he had a very shaky sector 2, but purple in sectors 1 and 3 denied Arjun Maini of his second ever pole position.
Great job, mega.
And it's a second ever pole position instead for Thierry Vermeulen.
Wow.
We saw him take a pole position last year at the Sachsenring. He was looking so strong there, and it all fell apart in the race through no fault of his own. He came home to finish on the podium, but it wasn't what he had anticipated. He's going to be doing it again. It's his second ever pole position in the DTM for Thierry Vermeulen. On the second row will be Arjun Maini. He came so close. Mauro Engel, who put in so many laps, more than anybody else, on row 3 ahead of Ricardo Feller. Jordan Pepper, yesterday's winner, is going to be starting on row 5 ahead of René Rast. Jules Gounon on row 7. Row 8, local man Marco Wittmann. Timo Glock and Maurice Schuring are next, and then Luca Engstler with Max Powell on the 12th and last row of the grid. So that will be one row, and that will be combined with Group B. That will form the other row of the grid. And at the front of that will be Nicola Bart. But a second ever pole position for Thierry Vermeulen. Amazing stuff for Emil Frey Racing. Still looking for his first ever win in DTM. What a place to get a pole position. His best result was a 3rd place at the Sachsenring last year, and that came after that pole position. This year, you know he's going to be determined. And up there with him in the other group, not too far away, Jack Aitken and Ben Green are going to be there, the sister cars. So the Ferraris looking very strong here around the Norisring. So let's have a look at the combined times. It will be row 1, Thierry Vermeulen with Nicola Bart alongside Arjun Maini, Jack Aitken on the next row, Mauro Engel and Ben Green on row 3. Good qualifying from Ricardo Feller with Thomas Preining for company. Yesterday's winner, Jordan Pepper, good qualifying also from Ben Durr, and they will form the 5th row of the grid. Just waiting for the others to come up, but what a great qualifying session that is. I really enjoy having them as two groups. Right on the next row, René Rast and Aintjan Nguyen, Jules Gounon, Gilles Magnus in the other of the Aston Martins, Marco Wittmann, and championship leader Lucas Auer. They've got a lot of work to do from 15th and 16th, as is also the case for Timo Glock and Fabio Scherer. There was also Maurice Schuring there as well. Right, let's head back down to Verena, who's in the pit lane.
And I'm here with Arjun Maini. Congratulations, starting in P3 today. We love your little new look. And obviously a smile on your face because it's looking good for the race later on.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was pole until the end, and I think Vermeulen got me, I think, in the last lap. So, yeah, anyways, it's still great starting place. Great to see the progress the Mustang GT3 has made in the hands of HRT. So, yeah, super happy to be here and now looking forward to the race.
So thank you so much, Arjun. Best of luck for the race. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Verena. Thank you, Arjun. Yes, a great job. The Mustang are really looking good. They're finally, well, I say finally, they've been improving every race this year, and they've really got a handle on that. But who's going to be able to live with Thierry Vermeulen this afternoon? He will be starting from pole position. The Dutch driver clearly very, very delighted, as you'd expect. And if you're ever going to get a pole position anywhere, the place to do it is here at the Norisring. His nickname the Franconian Monaco for very good reason. Track position is everything. Grid positions are very important. And starting from pole position, the rest of the team rushing to congratulate him. It's going to be a very big crowd here this afternoon. They're pouring through the gates even still now, getting ready for a lot of racing here, and they are going to be thoroughly entertained. This is going to be a real nail-biter. We had a good race yesterday, but Jordan Pepper's got it all to do from kind of just ahead of mid-pack. Ferrari's looking very, very quick.
When we went to bed last night, independently, may I add,
thank you.
You certainly wouldn't have put those four manufacturers occupying the first four places on the grid for today's DTM race. And that's what makes the DTM so special. I said at the beginning of the program, you know, you can't take the form guide from day one and translate that into what's going to happen in day two. And I think that's been proven more than ever with the qualifying that we have just seen for our race two to come later.
Yes, very, very rarely does day one resemble day two in the DTM race weekend. And it's consistency across the season that wins championships. There'll be 3 points going the way of Thierry Vermeulen, and that will be really good for his championship hunt. 3-2-1 awarded for the first 3 places in qualifying. But Thierry Vermeulen really, really looking good around here. It's a circuit that really shows off driving skill. And I think Arjun Maini and that Mustang, what a great combination that is. Arjun Maini also picking up a point for that. There is the championship coming into today. Lucas Auer suddenly looking over his shoulder, that massive lead he had coming into this weekend. Suddenly Jordan Pepper is there, so he'll be quite pleased that Pepper is a bit further back, but Lucas Auer himself also a long way back. 13 points behind is Mauro Engel. So Mauro Engel very much in there. He's on row 3 of the grid. For the race this afternoon, it's all set to be a humdinger. Let's head back down to Verena for one last time.
And I'm here with the pole setter, Thierry Vermeulen. It's your second pole, and you've got a big smile, hopefully, on your face because it's looking good for today's race.
Yeah, absolutely. The car was super balanced. I think we did a really good strategy throughout the qualifying, and the team just helped me a lot throughout the session. So on the last lap, I could put it all together. But yeah, already yesterday we had a strong car, so very happy that today we put it together.
Put it together. Hopefully you'll do the same thing in the race. And I mean, it's crazy. Everybody talks about that Norisring is so super tight, and it's just really very exciting. So obviously we're also looking to a very exciting tight race.
Yeah, for sure. Today with the 2 pit stops, the best drivers all around. So it will be an exciting race, and I'm looking forward to it.
So Thierry, best of luck. Thank you so much. And yeah, that was our qualifying on race day 2. And now obviously we're looking forward to the race later on this afternoon. So you don't want to miss it. See you later. Here are the highlights. Enjoy. Bye-bye.